there's a lot of variations in that you'll see soon. A thing that you can add to that'll give it a real good sound is something like this. It's got 3 notes ascending, A, B, C, and then you'll go down as far as the G note on the B string. So the whole thing goes A, B, C, B, A, G. That in itself is a real good pull-off. And in combination with the earlier one, sounds really good. That'll sound like this. That's the one we just did, and then the earlier one together. The next sequence is an exercise I use not only to build my left hand, but it's also a real good sounding phrase. Let's start fairly high up on the 13th fret of the B string on the C note. This will all be in a kind of a whole step shape. A whole step between each finger. It'll be C, D, and D. And the whole idea of this, like, you'll always play those notes on the B string, but the note on the E string alternates. First you do an F note with your first finger on the 13th fret, and then descend. Then you do basically the same thing, but instead of playing the F, you'll bar with your third finger and play the G. A lot of people do whole steps with their second finger. If that's the case, that'll work fine, whatever is comfortable. Then use your pinky and bar and get the A note. So each time the notes on the B string are the same, but the note on the E string changes between F, G, and A. And that up to tempo will sound like this. The next pull-off pattern is one of my favorites because it's got more of a 16th note or a 4 feel. With a lot of the 3 note per string patterns, it's real easy to get into a real triplet sound. Where you have triplet, 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 and that can sound real good. I must admit I love that sound, but anything gets old after a while, so it's nice to get more of a 16th note kind of sound. This particular sequence has the same fingering in a 3 note per string scale, but because of the way it's sequenced, has more of a 16th note or a 4 feel. And here's how it sounds. Let's put it in our old faithful 3 note per string C major scale. And the order of notes will go like this. Basically, you just go up 4 notes again. And then go right to the A note with your pinky. And then go back to the F. And then ascend 3 notes in that scale, which would be F, G, and A. A lot easier just to listen to it. It's slow. Let's do just that. And you can hear how there's 2 sets of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Also works real well for picking, but I preferred for left hand. There I did that same sequence, just using each set of strings in that C major scale. And a lot of times the phrases you can come up with using that sequence are a lot more interesting. For my next guitar trick, I will perform one of the most dangerous and difficult guitar tricks you can do. I will take the guitar, I will place it into the box of terror. I will then put on my safety goggles, which my beautiful assistant Lisa will get for me. Thank you so much. Then put on my rubber safety gloves. Rubber safety glove number 2. I will now attempt to saw through the box of terror leaving the guitar without a scratch. Chainsaw, please. Now to check if the trick worked, abracadabra. And now it will remain without a scratch. For a long time, I didn't even know what arpeggios were. I remember looking up the word in the dictionary and it said notes of a chord played separately. Then it just didn't hit in there. Finally, when I moved to California, I saw a lot of players doing actual arpeggios, and it really inspired me to work on it. One of the exercises that I really recommend is taking a smaller sequence for sweep picking and working on that, as opposed to all 6 strings, because if you're not used to sweep picking, it's really a pretty difficult technique, and a lot of times even if you are used to it, it's still difficult. So try taking a small chunk at first and working on that. Here's a real good one. It's part of a C major triad sweep. It's basically just got 4 notes. It'll be 2 notes on the high E string, G and D, C on the B string, 13th fret with your 2nd finger, and your 1st finger on the 12th fret of the G string, G note. So just 4 notes, and just descend over and over again. Now the tricky part is the picking of it, which will be a downstroke and 3 upstrokes, and that 3 upstrokes is the sweep. That'll sound like this. The important thing is to get it even in tempo. You don't want to rush the 3 upstrokes, even though they're probably going to be a lot easier to do. You may tend to do this initially to make them faster than the other part. But what we really want to do is get a solid 4 feel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Another variation you can do with that sequence that has really helped my economy picking a lot is adding 2 notes in the beginning. The 2 notes are G and F, and then doing that 4-note sequence that we just did. So it'll sound like this. Kind of gives it a pedal tone feel. Has a kind of sort of a classical sound to it. You can go even further and add a couple notes in the D string. Let's try adding E and D. And that'll sound like this when added on to that previous lick. So for the picking for that, you can see you've got a lot of upstrokes and downstrokes in a row. Let me run through the picking real quick so you can get the hang of it. It'll be down, up, down, up, 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 down, up, down, 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 up. The cool thing about that is it has a definite rhythm to it, where a lot of times when you're initially doing sweep picking, it's easy to forget the rhythm. Let me show you some examples of applying that sequence to actual music.